mad extras kind of playthrough, but I had a perfect idea while I was at work. I was thinking to myself, you know, there are so many things about this game that I would like to change personally, and so many things that I would not have done, but I'm always describing them in passing while I'm playing the game, and I'm like concentrating on trying to get through something or something else. So I've decided what I'm going to do is the whole point of this content that I'm making right now for the game, especially while we're waiting for Neo on February 7th, I'm going to make content that we're going to basically revive the entirety of this game. Of course, we can't do it in reality because that would take a whole lot of other skills I don't have, and it would take a shit ton of time. And I don't know much about modding or computer programming, and I'm on a PS4, so I wouldn't be able to do it anyway. But we sure as hell can talk about it. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's go into options mode because I do not want the characters talking. So we're going to knock that voice down to 1. The music, speaking of music, at the end of the game there is an opening theme. I'll just say this right now because that's on my notes too. But the opening theme of the game is called Go Tell Aunt Rhody. You can go listen to it on YouTube. It's an interesting tune, but it's totally out of place. It's totally out of place for what this game's music was, because this game's music was extremely light, extremely minimalist, and was basically not really ever used. And so when you go listen to that, it's like, where the fuck did this come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's at the end of the game where it should have actually taken place at the beginning of the game, kind of like how The Last of Us has that opening scene. You know that? You guys have definitely seen The Last of Us, you know? Well, that's how they should have handled that. So I would love it if you would hop on YouTube when you get a chance and listen to Go Tell Aunt Rhody. As soon as you put something like that in, the RE version, the RE7 version is going to pop up since it's one of the most popular things right now. So let's go ahead and we can actually turn this to the Japanese voice language. Let's see how the lip syncing works, because it does not work when it comes to the lip syncing does not work at all when it comes to the English voice actors. Like, it's very weird. A lot of people have pointed that out, and I never said it, but I could totally understand it because that's true. The option cannot be currently changed. What? Doesn't matter. All right. I think that's it. Without further ado, let's start the revising of Resident Evil 7. We're going to go on easy mode so I can get through the game and show you some things that I would like to change without having to constantly restart. So, as we see, the game will start out with a video of your wife, Mia. Okay. Oh, cool. It's actually in Japanese. Anyway, so basically what they're trying to do with this is they're trying to get you to have an emotional connection with Mia. She, you know, that's why they do the close-ups. That's why they let you see her face. That's why she's very loving and caring towards you. They're trying to get you to care about this person. She keeps looking off screen, so it's clear that she has something that is taking her attention. And then to contrast that immediately and give you a little bit of the darkness of the story, they pull out, and you see what looks like a woman's, well, it could be a man's hands, but they're actually kind of thinner, and you can hear a woman's voice. So you see somebody tapping on this, and this is supposed to be Mia recording herself. So that kind of contrast, they're trying to show you that she's in danger, you know, and she's telling you stay away. And obviously, if this is, she says my loving husband, so this is someone you're supposed to come in and help out because she's your wife, right? So after that enters The most useless of the useless D-bags in a horror game. Ethan Winters. So this is a call that Ethan is making to one of his friends. We never see this friend. He's just the disembodied voice. But Ethan is here driving into Dulvey, Louisiana. Supposedly he does not live in Dulvey, Louisiana. But he's going there. They never explain where Ethan came from. Let me see here. Uh-oh. Doesn't look like I can pause it or anything. We'll wait till I am driving. Alright, so this is supposed to be your introduction to your player character. And we already have, obviously, reason for why we're coming here, which is my wife contacts me out of the blue, and she's been missing for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's funny. We can't see ourselves in the reflection there. So hop on out of the car. This is kind of strange that Ethan doesn't pick up his goddamn keys. When nobody gets out of their car and doesn't take their keys with them. But he just leaves them. He never takes them out. And then later on that, comes to bite us in the ass when we don't have our car keys. But anyway, so this is the beginning of the game. And what I would rather do is, instead of Ethan Winters being some rando who hears about his wife being brought to Dulvey, Louisiana, instead of it doing that way, what we would do is we would make Ethan Winters into Ethan Baker. Or better yet, Erin Baker. I changed the name to Erin Baker. But, I mean, Ethan Baker's fine. We would make him a part of the Baker family from the outset. And we take away the Mia angle. So he doesn't have a wife. But what Ethan's backstory is that, I guess we'll go with Ethan Baker. So what Ethan's backstory is, or no, I'm sorry. I specifically went with Erin for a reason. So Erin is kind of a sex-neutral name instead of Ethan. Ethan is definitely a boy. If we go with Erin Baker, what we get is the access to a character customization. Now, hear me out, because I know a lot of people are thinking, like, character customization, why, motherfucker, why? Doesn't fit in this game. Actually, yes, it does. Remember, in a survival horror game, the whole point is to cause stressful and fearful situations for the player, so that they can get through the challenges and overcome the fear, right? Now, the thing is what connects you to that fear? The connection to the fear that you feel by seeing these images and hearing these sounds is your player character. And guess what makes people care about a player character? Character customization. When you from the very start have had a hand in what this person looks like and what they you feel like it's a parent-child connection that you gain. And with this preset character route, you don't have that. So I have no connection to Ethan Winters right now. But with Erin Baker, the adopted child of the Bakers, by the way, so that you could choose what your character really looks like. Because remember, the whole point is to get the player character, or the player, to care about the player character from the outset of the game. So if you get to decide what this person looks like, obviously you might not be, a white. I was about to say hillbilly. They're not hillbillies. They're quiet. You might not belong to a quiet family who lives out in the sticks in Louisiana. So it makes sense that you could be an adopted child. And on top of that, we know that the Bakers are not bad people. So that can work. That they would have adopted a child. But the player character from the very outset gets a close connection with Erin Baker. And you will also be able to see Erin throughout reflections, because I want you to be able to see Erin. Even though we would keep the first-person perspective, because that's the big thing about RE7, if it's the car like this, instead of it being this hideous texture there where you can't see yourself, it would actually reflect your character's face from the window here. So several places throughout the game you would be able to look in like a puddle of muck and water, and you would be able to see your character. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to remind you that this is someone you had a hand in crafting. Even without knowing this person's backstory, even without knowing what they've been doing for, however many years of their life, you have a connection to them. It's your job to get them out of here alive. So that would make the player feel connected to the character. But the reason I make you a baker is because it would make your character connected to the family, right? So right now you're kind of like, I always got this emotional sense that like I was against the family. I was like, fuck you, you guys are gonna die. I was like, fuck Marguerite, fuck Jack, fuck Lucas, they're pieces of shit. Zoe's cool, but she's mainly worthless for the majority of the game, which is also something that we're going to be revising in this video series. So we would give you a familial connection to the Bakers so that you're coming home to see what has happened to your family. Just to give Erin a little bit of a backstory, Erin Baker grew up here in Dovey, Louisiana, so you're used to this area, you're used to the house, and that goes into gameplay because the house will change from what Erin remembered it looking like and being like. But you're from this area. We would have to get a voice actor that has that kind of Louisiana accent that would make sense for this character, just like how Zoe has a southern accent. And what is this whole story would be based around the tagline "Welcome back," instead of "Welcome to the family," which you never really feel welcome in the family because they're always trying to kill you. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So that tagline loses power. But when I say "Welcome back," the tagline "Welcome back," that means it's a place you've already been, and usually that means welcome will mean, oh, well, come on in, you know what I'm saying? Everything's all cool, but you go in and you're being fucking attacked by your own family members. They're trying to kill you all throughout the game. So it's a weird, ironic statement to say welcome back, and it will keep the players, for when we're talking about marketing, it will keep the players thinking, what the fuck? Like, why are they saying welcome back? Even Jack will change, instead of saying welcome to the family, he says welcome back, son, or welcome back, daughter, because Erin is mutually, gender fluid name, so you can choose it for a boy or a girl. So whatever character you choose, he will then switch dialogue based on male or female. But when your father says welcome back to you and then punches you in the fucking face, that's different than some weird hillbilly guy talking about welcome to the family, son, and he punches you in the face. That gives you a whole different feeling. That already you're connected to these people, because one of the reasons why the biggest reason why Erin is coming back to Dovey is because you receive a message from Zoe. Zoe is finally able to get a message out to you after all this shit has happened. And furthermore, we would also change, instead of a 3-year period where nothing happens and you're waiting, it would only be it would be right after all of the worst stuff has happened, and this has been going on for only a period of a few months. That period of a few months gives Jack enough time to modify the house, like I'm going to explain later. It gives Lucas enough time to get his shit together. It gives the horror aspects have enough time to develop. And then when you get to the house, you can see everything's all busted up and broken down and run down and falling apart. That 6-month period instead of a 3-year period makes more sense, because then it shows that Zoe was actively trying her best to get a message out and finally gets her message out to you. Zoe being the youngest of the, I don't know if she is in this game, but in the revised story, she is the youngest child of the Baker family. Except for Evelyn, but we know that Evelyn's adopted as well. That's another thing. Since Evelyn is technically an adopted child, that gives her a connection to the player. Right? It's all coming together. So Erin receives a frantic message from Zoe, who is talking about how she can't talk very long, but she needs you to return home. Erin is a person who, from Dovey, Louisiana, you have moved out against your father's wishes, and you have gone over to Twin Oaks. Now, Twin Oaks is, of course, the town in Resident Evil 6 that has an outbreak in Leon's playthrough. And so it's very important that you go through that, because that's a huge part of who Erin Baker becomes. Erin Baker goes off to Twin Oaks, I guess we can say, for a teaching position. And I'll be able to explain why. Simply Gone. Interesting. I'll be able to explain why you go off to that teaching position in a bit, and it has a lot to do with Marguerite. But you head over to Twin Oaks, and you are there for 6 months with a flourishing career as a professor. Let's say a professor of agriculture. You're following in your mom's footsteps. Marguerite is also, in the revised version, a professor of agriculture who works at home. I'll explain later when we get to Marguerite. But you're over in Twin Oaks, and your family hasn't contacted you for 6 months. You've been trying to contact them, and that message in the beginning where you hear Ethan talk to his friend, instead of talking about Mia, it'll say, "It's been 6 months. My family's never, they never said anything to me, and now my little sister, my little sis, I guess, sends this message to me, and she sounds like she's in trouble. I gotta go home." You know what I'm saying? So frantically, when Zoe is able to finally get this message out to Erin drives all the way back to Dolby, Louisiana to see what the hell has happened to the family home. So when you get here, you go up to the gate, obviously, and you can't get in, just like the beginning of the game. And Erin, instead of saying nothing like Ethan does, because like I said, Ethan does not have a connection to this land. He doesn't have a connection to these people. He's here for his wife and his wife only. Erin comes in there and is like, what the hell has happened to the house? The house is in a state of disrepair. It looks like there's been like shit added onto it. And you can't get through the front gate. Nobody's answering on the call box. So you come around here and you see your dad. You see Jack walk from left to right. And instead of having Jack just walk across the screen there, what we would do is we would have Jack, as soon as he hits this tree branch here, just the tip of that tree branch, he'll crane his neck towards you very fast. So you know that he sees you, you know what I'm saying? And then he just keeps walking off screen. And Erin calls out to him, you know what I'm saying? Calls out to him and tries to go towards him, and the player moves forward from there. So as we're going to go through this area, we're going to be going into situations where Erin is seeing how a lot of things have changed and talking about how they have changed. And you'll also see, the flashback stuff that we get at the end of the game here. Erin will be getting that all throughout the house, where, flashbacks of playing with Zoe under the floorboards, coming after Zoe and acting like you're a monster. You're going to have a lot of scenes where you have Lucas fucking something up or breaking something and blaming you for it. This is all to build your connection to the Baker family, and to give character moments to these characters that have character moments in this game, but they really needed more characterization to be fully fleshed out. So coming here to see something like this is horrifying. And this, instead of Ethan getting here and he says fucking nothing about this, which doesn't make any sense, Erin would get here and be like, the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, it gives you pause for a second. You're like, what the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? And we would be much more vocal with Erin's dialogue to let you know when things have changed, when things just aren't right. And because, like I said, because you have that familiar connection, it already makes you worry about your family. And that's another thing. The vast majority of human beings on this planet have families, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So you can understand what it's like when your family members are in danger. You know what I'm saying? If you have a family member, at some point throughout your life, they're going to be in some kind of danger or get some kind of harm done to them. And the feelings of helplessness and the feelings of fear, we're going to tap into those feelings of helplessness and fear while you're running from, fighting off, and in some cases killing your own fucking family members. And that is powerful. that is powerful emotional fear to take in a game. So you'll come here, and instead of this just being like a freshly burned stack of shit, what in the revised version, you'll come here and you'll see a bunch of sentimental items from the family. You'll see Marguerite's several of her, you'll see Marguerite's PhD. You'll see her I think no, not MD. What the hell am I talking about? Yeah, you'll see Marguerite's PhD, the bachelor's degree that she has. You'll see Jack's a lot of his football paraphernalia is thrown out. You're going to see this right here from Mia, your sister Mia, who is she's kind of like the middle child with Lucas. Instead of Mia being your wife, she would end up being your sister in the revised version. And you'll see her purse, and Mia's kind of, we can make her into kind of like a, the classic teen who wants to break away from the family but isn't able to do that quite yet. You'll see some dolls from Zoe being the teen who's more sheltered, like she is in the game. She actually is quite sheltered. So you'll see her being in line with her character in the game. And you'll see some computer parts from Lucas and things like that. And the reason that is there is because it's supposed to, you'll be able to actually go and click on and look at each item that you find. And Erin will give you information by talking about that item and what it means, or what it means to Erin, as in, what memories Erin has regarding those items, and what it meant to the person who had that item. And so it confuses you why your family members would throw out all of these sentimental items. And you figure out later that it's because Evelyn, who has moved in, she's psychopathic. Obviously, we know Evelyn's psychopathic from this game. In the revised version, she's psychopathic to the point where she wants your attention and will kill you if you don't give it to her, right? She'll infect you and force you to give her your attention if you don't openly give it to her. So to separate away from the people in the family, away from things that make them give them their own identity, Evelyn has them burn these items that mean particularly important things to them. Like, instead of, actually, now that I think about Jack, instead of his football paraphernalia, it'll be his Marine medal. You know what I'm saying? It'll be his medal when he was in the Marines. You know what I'm saying? Something that he cares about. You see what I'm saying? That emotional connection, you'll see that you'll be confused at first as to why your family's sentimental items are outside burning, you know what I'm saying, and being destroyed. And later on, when you learn about Evelyn, you'll understand that this bitch has taken everything from your family, and you're fighting to get them back from her. So Jack walks in the guest house. You walk in, you ask for your dad, and he's not here, so you click on your flashlight. And there's a reason why Erin has more experience than Ethan. When Erin goes off, before Erin gets to Twin Oaks and takes the teaching position, when you're at Twin Oaks, which I'm sure the situation in Twin Oaks happened in like 2016, 2015 that outbreak happened in Twin Oaks. It's important that Erin was there during the outbreak and survived it, because that gives Erin some connection to BOWs and how dangerous bioterrorism can be. And that also plays up on how when you get into this situation and you start seeing that BOWs are the problem, it informs Erin's fear. So throughout the game, we will have Erin reference how this is just like Twin Oaks. This is just like Twin Oaks. I remember, this happening, that happening. And it's important that we show that kind of fear to the player. So you would actually have some flashback scenes where you're in Twin Oaks dealing with the zombie infection. You know what I'm saying? How cool would that be? To go back and deal with zombies in first person in an updated RE. So as we head through the house, Erin will talk about how destroyed the guest house is, how it looks like things have been in disrepair for years, and it couldn't have been years at this point. So we head on into the TV room, or the living room for the guest house. Find their pictures here. All right, and of course the family photo here would have to be updated to add Mia and Erin to it. Erin, of course, would be the oldest child, possibly kind of standing off to the side, or we'd probably have to pull the picture out a little bit more. Alrighty. Let's head up to the attic, or up to the second floor, and grab that tape. Derelict house footage. Erin grabs that, heads down, watches the tape, the terrible, terrible tape. Which, by the way, I've said it before, but if you go back and play the demo, there's a scene at the end of the demo, once you finish the demo, where Peter is helping Clancy, who has his arms bound, and there's this thing that kills Peter. It's like this weird little child, and like I've said before, I think that was the original idea behind Evelyn. That's what Evelyn was going to be like, and I would have preferred that kind of Evelyn. Yeah, the lip syncing doesn't look that much better.
確認だ。屋敷内を一通り映して導入シーンを撮る。いつも通りだろ。なあ、今度こそタイトルちゃんと言ってくれよ。心配するな。今宵の通話ゲーターズは即テレコミ屋敷の情報満載。どうだ？最高だ。
So imagine Erin watching this with all the emotional connection to the family that you have, and as we see the weird things happen, you can imagine Erin's reactions, and they would be much more powerful, obviously, than Ethan's reaction. You know, once again, Ethan does not have a connection to this area that Erin does.
アンドレ、どう思う？アンドレ、アンドレ、アンドレ、クランシー、アンドレ見たか？どこ行った？ったく何考えてんだあの野郎。あいつとは二度と仕事しないぞ。プロデューサーはいくらでも買いが利くんだ。カメラマンのお前と違ってな。ちゃんとついてこい。なんだ今の。聞いたか？
Going in, buddy.
アンドレ、どこ行った？アンドレどこにいるんだ？
This game has such a wonderful use of ambient sound, though.
なんだこれ。マジで勘弁してくれよ。よし、こうしよう。アンドレを見つけてさっさと帰るぞ。番組はもういい。先に行け。俺がはしごを降りるから。
The use of VHS is very important too, and that's something that would not be happening in the revised version. That's fucking stupid. Okay, you should not be making a game that takes place in 2017, and there's still a primary use of VHSs going on. That's ridiculous. So instead of this weird VHS fetish that this game has, we wouldn't put CDs, maybe like, I don't know, maybe CDs, maybe CDs, maybe CDs. So you can bet your ass that after seeing something like that, knowing that your family is in this area, this is your family's home, seeing that strange person, which looked like a man, walking around, it would obviously creep you the hell out. You know what I'm saying? You're here to figure out what happened, but later on, it'll be a struggle to keep your family members alive. And that will become harder and harder as the game moves on. Excuse me. So we're probably going to cut it right here, right before we meet Mia. So this is an important thing to see. Something like this, in the revised version, Erin would admit that this never existed before. This was never here. And there's a very important reason when we get to dealing with Jack. I'll explain what Jack represents. Because the characters that you fight in the game now, in their areas, now represent certain aspects of family that Evelyn wanted. And that explains the reason, it informs the reason why Evelyn chose your family, and why certain things look the way they do. So Erin heads down the ladder here, breaks off. I wouldn't do that ladder fall like that. Instead of it being something where it breaks off and you're gripping it, I would do it something where you suddenly slip downward and then you slip all the way down. You know what I'm saying? You slip down quickly, and the player has this jarring situation where all they see is ladder rungs going in front of them, and then you stop for a second, and then you slip all the way down because the ladder breaks off and kind of falls on top of you. Disgusting. The way I would have did that, instead of having it something where you jump down, I would have had it where you fall into the water. Because remember, this area is just created by Jack within the 6-month period. He's been hard at work putting these areas together. So I wouldn't make them look so clean and pristine. I would make them look like they're haphazardly created. This tunnel would be a lot tighter, a lot more claustrophobic. And the water here would have eroded whatever dirt step formation that Jack created. So I would have the player literally trip into the water. And I would also have, as you're walking, you're kind of like staggering because there's potholes under you. That's a nice scene that the water bubbles like that. I like that. So you head under here. You run into Andre. Andre's rotting corpse. Poor Andre. Or at least I'm fairly certain that's Andre. And so when you get here, you will hear Erin talk about how none of... Holy shit, that was actually legitimately scary. Alright. You hear Erin talk about how none of this belongs here. None of this existed when Erin was growing up in this family house. And that's technically true. All of this, I'm thinking, even in the real game, was put in by Jack to hold the other people that they had kidnapped for Evelyn's needs. And here you find Mia. And so we're going to have Evelyn have this obsession with Mia. She won't want her to be her mommy as she wants her here, but she'll want her to be big sis. So we'll have a logical reason why Mia is sectioned off and held specially. And then, of course, this is a great idea to have the victims' names. But, of course, we would not have Mia being on this list. Now, if you look over here, we have Clancy, and by his name, there's a capital L. That does stand for Lucas. Lucas has captured Clancy. And, unfortunately, has killed him. So we grab those bolt cutters. And I will see you in the next vid. I hope you guys like this. And I would love to hear your ideas. Please, please, please throw some ideas at me. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm just having fun. This is all, fan fiction-y bullshit anyway. So we can just have a lot of fun with that. So do not feel embarrassed to throw some ideas around with me. And I will see you in the next vid.